Welcome to the Top 10 at 10. Today is May the 9th, 2014, and these are the top 10 news stories. Whoop. Story number 10 this is from Naked Capitalism. SEC official describes widespread law breaking and material weaknesses and controls in private equity industry. At a private equity conference this week, Drew Bowden, a senior SEC official, told private equity fund managers and their investors in considerable detail about how the agency had found widespread stealing and other serious infractions in its audits of private equity firms. In the years that I've been reading speeches from regulators, I've never seen anything remotely like Bowden's talk. I've embedded it at the end of the post and strongly encourage you to read it. Despite the, at times, disconcertingly polite tone, the SEC has now announced that more than 50% of private equity firms it has audited have engaged in serious infractions of securities laws. 50%. These abuses were detected thanks to Dodd-Frank. Private equity general managers have been regulated until early 2012 when they were required to SEC as investment. They're required by SEC regulation as investment advisors. Bowden heads the SEC's examinations unit, and his rap sheet was based on his 2 years of experience in auditing private equity firms. As bad as embezzlement and other sharp practices are, at least as troubling is the revelation that the limited partners have been derelict in their duties. They've agreed to terms in their relationship with the general partners to make it easy for the general partners to abuse the investors. The general partners can steal from their limited partners because the limited partners are asleep. The limited partners have failed to negotiate for contractual protections when they have the most leverage prior to investing, and they've been unwilling or unable to monitor their investments effectively once they've handed over their money. Note that the industry was warned about this possible outcome. So, private equity, 50% of those audited are engaging in theft from their clients. Here's the talk down here, so check this out at Naked Capitalism. Speaking of shocking reports, story number 2. This is from Pando Daily, David Sirota. Scroll up here. Christie official gave millions to taxpayer funds to major tech VC in apparent violation of pay-to-play rules. As Pando had previously reported, New Jersey has some of the nation's strongest anti-pay-to-play and anti-corruption laws and rules. Some good is doing this. These aim to prohibit public pension contracts from being awarded to investment firms whose executives make financial contributions to politicians, election funds, and political party organizations operating in the state. They are buttressed by SEC rules engineered to do the same thing. Yet despite all these laws and rules, Pando has discovered evidence that Governor Chris Christie's administration awarded a public pension contract to a technology venture firm shortly after a partner of the same firm made a $10,000 contribution to the New Jersey Republican State Committee. The firm involved is General Catalyst Partners, which has backed tech companies like Snapchat, Kayak, Stripe, and Warby Parker. Their website lists Charles Baker as an executive and partner. According to New Jersey campaign finance records, that same Charles Baker made a $10,000 contribution to New Jersey Republican State Committee just months before the state's contract with General Catalyst was proposed. When making the donation, Baker described himself as a partner in the firm. Wow. According to New Jersey records, the contribution came within the 18-month contribution moratorium set by New Jersey's pay-to-play statutes and within the 2-year moratorium set by the New Jersey Treasury Department rules. Additionally, Baker also helped organize a high-dollar fundraiser for Christie in 2013, according to news reports that Baker's spokesman later confirmed. If all that wasn't enough, there's one more twist. If Baker's name sounds familiar, it should be, because he is not merely a financial executive. He is also the current GOP nominee in Massachusetts' hotly contested 2014 gubernatorial election. According to the state's Republican Party, he is running on a promise to change the culture of corruption. Whoops. So, wow, pretty big. If this stands up, you got a double whammy. Pando on Thursday, let's see here. Pando on Thursday requested comment for the story from Governor Christie's office. the Department of Treasury, and the chairman of New Jersey State Investment Council. None of them responded to the request for comment. However, others with intimate knowledge of the laws in question did. In response to Pando's reporting about Baker and General Catalyst deal with the Christie administration, former SEC official Arthur Levitt, the agency's longest-serving chairman and the architect of the agency's original pay-to-play law, said, the spirit of the law has been violated by investment advisors giving contributions filed by municipal investments in the funds they represent. Arthur Levitt said that? I wonder if that was a general statement. A former assistant United States Attorney Melanie Sloan, now executive director of the watchdog Citizens for Ethics in Washington, said, quote, there are no two ways about it. Once Baker had contributed $10,000 to the New Jersey Republican State Committee, that's the state's pay-to-play law and SEC regulations prohibited the state from investing with General Catalyst. Public Citizens Craig Holman, who has been involved in the crafting of New Jersey's pay-to-play laws, told Pando that while it is theoretically possible Baker is not covered as a business entity under New Jersey statutes, the federal laws are broader. Quote, it appears to be illegal, he said. These are government contractors who are participating in campaign fundraising through groups that support various candidates for office, including Governor Christie. This would be a violation of the pay-to-play law. Oh boy. So I guess we'll see what the response is from the from law enforcement and from the wider public. Story number 8. Louis C.K. Has figured out why our kids are so sad. This is interesting because Louis C.K., sort of prominent comedian, talked about why Common Core is a bad idea, which is a weird place for our criticism to come from, but it seems like a pretty legit criticism. Louis C.K., the best living comedian, aimed to turn the best late night guest there is, dropped by David Letterman's show last night. If you want to talk with Dave about his TV show, if he had a chance about how standardized tests are making his children's lives unnecessarily sad, and he does just that. But the most excellent point he makes about childhood standardized testing isn't about childhood or standardized testing at all. Late in the interview, Louis tells a story of a flight he was about to take to Los Angeles. Once he boarded and sat down his aisle seat, a woman with a baby approached him and told him how it was going to go. He would be sitting in the middle seat, and she'd be sitting in the aisle. Okay, Louis said, and then he just left the plane entirely. He just went home. He didn't go to Los Angeles. Whatever I wanted to do over there didn't get done, and it doesn't really matter, he says. In America, where schooling is becoming nothing more than a nutrition test, it's probably the most important lesson Louis given kids and adults alike. You can just leave. You can just stop. So, kind of interesting story. Read it at, this is Esquire. Story number 7 from Talking Points Memo, Krauthammer. Climate change is superstition, like the rain dance of Native Americans. Oh, man. Charles Krauthammer believes climate change is a mere superstition, just like the rain dance of Native Americans. Appearing Tuesday on Fox News' special report, the conservative pundit rejected the consensus of between 97 and 98% of scientists who believe climate change is real and is fueled by human activity. Quote, it's always a result of what is ultimately what we're talking about here, human sin with pollution of carbon. It's the oldest superstition around. It was in the Old Testament. It's in the rain dance of Native Americans. If you sin, the skies will not cooperate. Krauthammer further shed doubt on the White House's newly released climate change assessment by arguing that climate science is too unstable to predict weekend weather forecasts, let alone global trends. 99% of physicists were convinced that space and time are fixed until Einstein, working in a patent office, wrote a paper in which he showed they are not. How is that relevant to anything? These are the kind of things people negotiate the way they could negotiate a bill because the science is unstable. Thank you, Charles Krauthammer. Expert climatologist. He's the 1%. He's working in a patent office on climate science. Story number 6. This is from PR Watch. Judicial hijinks in effort to kill Walker criminal probe and destroy evidence. In one of the first cases to rely on the U.S. Supreme Court's McCutcheon decision, a federal judge just tried to open the door to new levels of corruption in Wisconsin elections, but the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals could stop him. On May 6th, federal judge Rudolph Randa ordered a halt to Wisconsin's long-running John Doe criminal probe into allegedly illegal coordination between political campaigns. This was ridiculous. citing that this is First Amendment right. It's your First Amendment right to corrupt people. His order was halted the following day by a Seventh Court panel made up of Judges Diane Wood, William Bauer, and Frank Easterbrook, which ruled that he had not properly certified an earlier appeal from prosecutors as frivolous, a necessary step before he could halt the investigation. Prosecutors had earlier appealed Judge Ronda's decision, rejecting their motion to dismiss the case on grounds that they were subject to immunity. On Thursday, Randa certified the appeal as frivolous and reinstated his order. Prosecutors will likely appeal again to the Seventh Court. Judge Randa's May 6 decision halting the investigation is extraordinary. It involves a federal court injecting its own interpretation of state law into a high-profile criminal probe of political operatives of the party that appointed him to the bench. While state court proceedings are ongoing, it deploys a strained reading of the U.S. Supreme Court precedent and the facts of the case betraying the investigation. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty crazy reading of campaign finance. Basically saying he can't be investigated. The people that gave this money can't be investigated because that's their First Amendment right. I don't know if you want to play-by-play, check out PR Watch. Story number 5. This is from the Associated Press. Pope demands legitimate redistribution of wealth. Pope Francis called Friday for governments to redistribute wealth to the poor in a new spirit of generosity to help curb the economy of exclusion that is taking hold today. Francis made the appeal during a speech to UN Secretary Ban Ki-moon and the heads of major UN agencies who met in Rome this week. Latin America's first pope has frequently lashed out at the injustices of capitalism and the global economic system that excludes so much of humanity. On Friday, Francis called for the United Nations to promote a worldwide ethical mobilization of solidarity with the poor in a new spirit of generosity. I guess, is he endorsing the Piketty global wealth tax? I guess we'll see. Actually. Whoops. Okay, well. This is now story number 2. Ex-NSA chief Keith Alexander seeks post-Snowden second act. Former National Security Advisor, Agency Chief General Keith Alexander is launching a consulting firm for financial institutions looking to address cybersecurity threats. This is from Politico. Less than 2 months since his retirement from the embattled agency at the center of the Edward Snowden leak storm, the retired 4-star general is setting up a Washington-based operation that will try to attract clients based on his 4 decades of experience in the military and intelligence and the continued levels of access to senior decision makers that affords. He's already out pushing hard, said an industry source. He's cleared if something does pop, he can get in the door and get a briefing. Alexander will lease office space from global consulting firm Promontory Financial Group, which confirmed in a statement that it plans to partner with him on cybersecurity matters. So he's gone from NSA to serve Wall Street. Love it. True public servant. Builds his own little private empire and then gets paid. He's going to get paid to show people how it works. Story number 2. Speaking of which, Obama policy bans employee use of leaked material. The Obama administration is clamping down on a technique that government officials have long used to join in public discussions of well-known but technically still secret information, citing news reports based on unauthorized disclosures. A new pre-publication review policy for the Office Director of National Intelligence says current and former employees and contractors may not cite news reports based on leaks in their speeches, opinion articles, books, term papers, or other unofficial writings. Such officials, quote, must not use sourcing that comes from known leaks or unauthorized disclosures of sensitive information. It says the use of such information in a publication can confirm the validity of an unauthorized disclosure and cause further harm to national security. Oh my God, this is Orwellian. Failure to comply, quote, may result in the imposition of civil and administrative penalties. It may result in the loss of security clearance and accesses. It follows a policy that James R. Clapper, the Director of National Intelligence, issued in March that bars officials of all 17 intelligence agencies from speaking without permission to journalists about unclassified information related to intelligence. Wow. So you can't even reference things in the public domain. Timothy Edgar, a visiting professor at Brown University, who worked at the intelligence office and the White House from 2006 to 2013, said it was appropriate to block former officials from disclosing classified information and confirming leaks. But he said it went too far to retroactively block former officials from citing news reports in the public domain, as long as they did so neutrally and did not confirm them as factually correct. You're basically saying people can't talk about what everyone in the country is talking about. Yeah, but they don't want us to talk about it either. That's the other part. That's what you're missing. Story number 1. It's from the National Interest. Former Israeli nuclear head, no Iran bomb for 10 years if they even want it. What? What? The former head of the Israeli Atomic Energy Commission, Brigadier General Uzi Eliam, retired, just dropped a bombshell, no pun intended. The Iranian nuclear program will only be operational in another 10 years, told the Israeli paper Yedot Ahronoth. Even so, I'm not sure that Iran wants the bomb. And he added that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is employing needless fear-mongering about Iran's atomic aspirations in order to further his own political aims. Mindful of the ongoing and thus far successful nuclear talks with Iran and Netanyahu's vocal opposition to them, Aliam's statement must be music to the ears of the Obama administration. It further embarrasses those in Washington who so uncritically swallowed Netanyahu's talking points hook, line, and sinker and repeated with Israel's prime minister arguments as their own. How about that? And that is the top 10 of 10. If you have a story you'd like me to feature the top 10 of 10, tweet me at Dan S. Wright. And be sure to read all the stories at firedogblake.com. Thanks for watching. See you later.